Right. We are trying out this social media stuff and let's see if it works. My dream one day is to be a famous writer, but in order to do that, I have to have something worth saying, which I think I do. So hopefully I get somewhere with it. And if one day I could study somewhere like France or England, go to Oxford, that kind of stuff, I would love that. But the state of the world as it is, this is a huge topic and I really want to break it open. So I've always wondered, what is this period in history going to be called? And I think this is going to be called the Great Divide because this is really the first time in history where not only do we have the ability to touch every piece of information, but we're able to organize it and use it in another way since AI has really become a thing now. Um, Everything is at our fingertips, anything. And an interesting topic about that is it's kind of blown up what we are as people because most of the internet is something to do with sex. And uh, like sex used to be something like before technology, it used to be something sacred. So we've lost that. It's like every single seven deadly sin has a way of coming out into the world through technology. For lust, you have porn. For greed, you have get rich quick videos, and then uh, everything's taking all of our money. And for gluttony, they have addictive and horrid foods that's not only technology, but they feed us that, especially in the United States. And our food is banned in 40 countries. In my personal experience, when I traveled to France, and all you eat over there is homegrown food, it's really good for you. And I was only there for 6 days, and I felt an insane difference in how I can think. My body felt better. I lost weight, and I still ate the same amount of food while I was over there. So it makes you wonder what is going on here. If our food is banned in over 40 countries, what does that say for us? We live here. What's happening to the water? What's happening to our animals? What's happening to us? This is it matters. It really matters because this is the future. This is going to be our kids. This is your kids currently. And I can't believe that nobody has done anything. So maybe I'll make a difference. I really hope I will. But to think that has to mean something that in the United States we're basically cash cows. And it used to be that the rich were the only ones that got fat. Now all the poor people get fat, so that means our food must be unhealthy. But I believe that there's power in the soul, and I've read the Bible. I've read the Seven Pillars, the Upanishads. I've read the Five Rings. I've read the Tao Te Ching, and I really like a lot of the ideas that come from them. But there's also some good and some bad. But I mostly resonate with Eastern religion. So the soul has some sort of power. I believe that. Every religion says that, and in the Bible, when Jesus died, he said that he would leave something behind for us. And there's going to be a lot of Christian fanatics out there that are able to answer it a little bit better than I am. But I believe that was your conscience. And your conscience is your soul. For instance, when people who are bad people and they ignore their conscience for long enough, they stop hearing it. And there's something in the Bible about that. If you ignore your soul for long enough, you stop having one. So all I want to do is write about this stuff, and I want to take any recommendations. Like if anybody has any ideas of other topics that I should discuss and study, I would definitely like that. So we as a people, I believe that we've grown far too stagnant. Excuse me. Back on the subject at hand. This generation, my generation, will be the great divide. In the Bible, it says, when Israel becomes a state once more, this generation shall not pass. So that was my grandfather's generation. It's going to be something to see once that finally comes to fruition, like when they're all gone, what's going to happen. It seems to me that there was once a real magic in the world before technology. So think about this. If that kind of stuff was real, like some mythologies, it technically is real if you believe stuff like the Bible, because they talk about Nephilims and giants and things like that, then would it be better for the people to believe that stuff and know that it was real in the world that we live in today, people that own the markets, that kind of thing? Or would it be better for us to never know about it at all and bury all the evidence? I don't know everything about it. I haven't met a giant. And, well, I had one that worked for me. He was like 6'5". His name was Andrew. He's a big boy, but he was a really nice guy. Still, I haven't met like a 40 league tall person. So it seems like that magic of the world has been stripped from us. Native Americans have talked about that. If you go to Mexico, and especially Brazil, where they still have a little bit of that, the old tribes left, they talk about there was once a time where we were also animals, which we are animals, and we could understand others. Like horses, we could understand them, and well, they didn't come over until we started having the triangular trade, but you get that idea. Like we used to be able to talk and be one with the earth, and I really wish that were still the case, but it turns out capitalism is a lot more powerful than just being one with the earth, because the Native Americans, they didn't own anything. That was the right idea. They didn't own a single thing. They just had these things for now, and they understood that nothing is forever. So they had that, and then it was gone. It was stripped from them. So I believe that magic of the world has been stripped from us, like a pacifier from a babe. And it's up to us, the few people that actually do wake up and realize that what's going on in the world, that we need to reconnect with that, because we're not going to be able to for very long. I believe that. I believe we're going to see an incredible change in history within the next 5 years, especially with what's going on in the Middle East. And that's terrifying. It's terrifying because I'm one of the people that will have to go fight and die because someone else decides it's a good idea. And that scares me. It does. So, we have no idea what's real in history anymore. Back on that subject of what if all that stuff was real, like mythology, and it got taken away from us. What, honestly, ask yourself, what do you know is real? What have you been there to experience? Were you there during the moon landing? I sound like a crook, like twisted in the head. I am twisted in the head, but it gives me good ideas. So, were you there? Ask yourself for most of the things in history. Were you there? No. Do you go off of somebody else's word? Yes. That's an issue because the world is so big that we just rely on other people's word. And that's what makes it so easy for us to be controlled. So, this makes it really easy to understand religion, I believe, because religion was all word of mouth and some scriptures that were passed around over time. And only recently have we had the ability to access all knowledge all at once anywhere in the world. So, let's play the game Everything is Real. What can we know anymore if we don't experience it in person? So, I believe, uh, I'm going to skip that part, but whatever the world is today, it seems to be sucking creativity out because we don't honor artisans anymore. We don't honor writers nearly as much anymore. If you ask most people on the street, they don't read. They'll listen to music, But if you constantly have that in your ear, you have that, like, you wake up, you listen to music in the shower. If you constantly have that sort of thing going, watching movies, not reading, not getting out and seeing nature, then it's just like a screw going in your head. And you need that moment of silence. You need to stop. That's why people that recommend meditating, I really like that. So I hope this has some sort of substance to the people out there. And um, the thing I encourage most in the world is to read. Read, 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 read. Read everything for yourself. Don't just believe what people tell you. Read it. And it's an interesting thing that a lot of Christians that I've met, they haven't read the Bible, especially Catholics. Catholics are a whole different story. But the idea of baptism, like once you're baptized, no matter what you do, then you go to heaven. That doesn't make sense. You could murder somebody and still go to heaven. I don't agree with that, but they seem to believe it. So I encourage you to read the Bible. I encourage you not only to read the Bible, but to read other books. Read the Tao Te Ching. Read the Upanishads. Read all of that, and then decide for yourself. One of my favorite books, right here, The Power of Myth by John Campbell. You can't really read that because it's backwards, but this is what it looks like. He talks a lot about Christianity and other religions, especially like old African religions, and how a lot of them are interconnected. Like the same stories in the Bible are mentioned 13 times in other religions. Think about that. The story of Jesus, the story of Mary, that's all been told before, just in slightly different ways. So read for yourself, decide what you will, then read a little bit more, and then hear what other people think, then read a little bit more. Just don't go by what other people say. Have a mind worth picking. So that's what I'm trying to do. Anyway, good luck out there, folks. I might get killed for this. We'll see. It's worth it, though. If I can touch just one of you, just one, I think that's worth my life.